to everyone, with the permission of my father. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue with the halachot of Kibbud Av V'em and a little bit musar right over here from the Sefer Yalkut Yosef itself. It brings down over here in Parak Bet in Seif Tetvav, Harotzeh lechabed et aviv ve'et imo lefi ha'emet. If a person wants to honor his mother and his father according to the emet, according to the truth, ya'asok b'torah u'b'masim tovim. The halacha tells us a lot of times a person thinks, a child thinks, the way that I can honor my parents is by getting them nice stuff, nice house, nice cars, etc. The halacha tells us over here, if a person really wants to honor his parents, he should learn Torah and do ma'asim tovim. V'naheg b'yishrut, also he should go ahead in the straight path. Shezehu hakavod hagadol la'avod. Rabotai, this is the greatest honor that you can actually bring your father and your mother by when you go in the proper path. Shomrim abriot, because then the people are going to say, Asher ela'av ve'em shegidlu ben kazeh. Praiseworthy is the father and the mother that they raised such a son. Aval, however, chas v'shalom rabotai, im ein haben holech b'derech hayashar. But if chas v'shalom rabotai, if the son does not go in the proper derech, harei avotav yis'u cherpa alav rabotai, the shame the parents are going to have to carry, the embarrassment the parents are going to have to carry, like we say, the family name is going to be ruined. V'hu mivayesh otam bebusha she'en gidulah himenu rabotai. A child that does not go in the ways of the Torah, meaning he does not do what's right, he does not learn Torah, he doesn't have good deeds, he doesn't go in the right path, there's no greater way than shaming your parents than this. That's what every single child has to know, that with every action there is a reaction. So whenever you do something, or whenever you say something, or whenever you are in any place, you have to make sure that does not go ahead and take effect back on your parents. V'yizaher miliktot im bnei adam. A person has to be very careful not to argue with people. Why? Kedei shelo yevuzu et hora, because we do not want people to come and chas v'sham lo aleinu embarrass your parents. Because remember, Rabotai, like the Gemara brings down, John, whatever the children say, it is because this is the way the parents speak in the house. Yes, you might be right in the outside world, it also has effect on them. But Rabotai, we have to try to influence. We have to try to give our children the most education while they're with us. When they're outside, even though they're surrounded by the garbage. Nevertheless, Rabotai, we have to try to influence the best. If the mother and father do not curse in the house, if the father and mother do not get angry in the house, even if other people are going to do it, they're always going to want to look up to the parents, and they're not going to do it. That's what he says over here. A person has to be very careful. A child has to be careful not to argue with other people, so you shouldn't come back to the parents. Rabotai, before I continue over here, in the footnotes, just a small comment. A lot of parents, unfortunately, do not realize what the halach is saying over here, because I've seen it from when I was younger to now, Rabotai, to how many assimilations that is going on, to how many people are getting married to non-Jewish people, and they're dating non-Jewish people, and they have children with non-Jewish people, and then they think it's okay. They think we did nothing wrong, Baruch Hashem. We put our kids on the right path because they're doctor, lawyer, or dentist, whoever they want to become. Rabotai, just like a father and mother can understand that their child needs an education from college, wherever college they're going, they pay big money. Remember one thing, Rabotai, you have to also realize that you have to pay Talmidei Chachamim big money in order for your kids to go in the proper derech, in order for them to teach your kids Torah. Do not underestimate Talmidei Chachamim, Rabotai. It is a very serious sin. I've seen it, Rabotai, when I used to speak to parents. I tell them, you want to put them into this yeshiva, there will be consequences. They will marry tomorrow Christina or whoever they're going to marry, Rabotai. No, it's fine, don't worry about it. I put them in Hebrew school once a week. Rabotai, I'm not chas v'shalom judging people. I'm talking about people that know what it is, and whatever reason they just don't want to go with it, because maybe they were hurt once at one point because of some rabbi or something. Always have somebody to blame but themselves. Rabotai, in the end, who's going to swallow? You're going to swallow the number two, Rabotai. Because why? Because you should have been careful from the onset. Just the other day, I had somebody come up to me. Another person wants to get married to some goya. Please help. the mother's crying, she has no life, the father has no life. And Rabotai, this is not a story like this in Miljon, this is tens. Like this happens, Rabotai. You have no idea how many people will lose, how many Jewish boys and girls we're losing. Why? Because of the parents, they do not want to have mercy on their children. They think they give them the best education. I'm not against education, Rabotai. I myself finished St. John's. By having the best education does not mean you have to abandon Hashem altogether. But when you go in that route, Rabotai, and you have nothing that's gonna basically keep you on the right path, Rabotai, eventually you're gonna get lost. Just like you have a horse, a cow, you have a stick that keeps them on the right path. Same thing by us, Rabotai. We have to make sure that our children are educated very, very properly. Sunday, Hebrew school, all this is nice, Rabotai. But you must make sure your children get the proper education. Remember, 7 days in a week, 1 day, even in that 1 day is only an hour. Rabotai, you're going up against a very big Yitzhahara that's telling you not to do the will of Hashem. And here you are, trying to just 1 hour a day, you think is going to make them Jewish. Rabotai, parents must take this very serious. If you have to, pay whatever it takes. You know something? If you don't do it now, you're going to do it later, because that's what happened. Artur, somebody came to me the other day. The son is hitting the father, the mother. A young child, a teenager. He's hitting, they don't know what to do with him. So in the beginning, Artur John, they didn't want to pay. Tuition is too expensive. Yo, if you have money for a nice car, you have money for a few $1,000 shoes, and you have money to go on vacation, there's no reason why you should have money for your kids' education. Don't tell me you don't have money. People are making 6 figures. Husband, 6 figures. Wife, 6 figures. And still you have no money. You ain't going to take everything with you, Artur. Give it back to your children. Invest in them. Rabotai, Mr. Isaac Levy, they didn't want to listen. Now, Yeshiva is not for us. Yeshiva, they brainwash. Now, Rabotai, the outside world is what brainwashes us. Not the Jewish world. You're looking to go to any base measures, Artur, where the kids are learning Torah. What do you see? Kids learn Torah. They respect their parents. Go to the outside world. See how they're learning. They're throwing food. They're going to the club. See what they're doing with women. See the drugs that they're doing. By Yiddishkeit, by Jewish people, we don't have to worry about our children. You can go to sleep at peace. You can wake up at peace. No, your children at home sleeping. Chas v'sham lo lein. If your children don't go in the right derech, you go to sleep worrying. That eats you alive. You wake up. If you wake up the next day, but in worrying also. Rabotai said, that's why it's not a joke. So what did this father tell me? I'm not ready to pay this much money. I'm not ready to pay. Believe me, they have everything besides. Believe me, they have a lot of money. In the end, he's like, I'm willing to pay everything now just to make my son good. Rabotai, if I tell you the age of the son, I just want to say, if I tell you the age of the son, you're not going to believe me. Now you can pay all the money you want and the world's not going to help you. Now it's going to be late. Now you have to pay triple or quadruple, who knows, to bring your child back. Rabotai, when the tree is small, you start directing it straight. If it's going like this, you direct it. But now when the child becomes a teenager, Rabotai, or Chazon, like today you have children that become 21, 22, even 18, and they start making decisions on their own, then good luck, Rabotai, in bringing them back. That you need a lot of Siyat Shemaya. You need a lot of heavenly assistance to be able to bring these children back. You need their parents' prayer. Their parents have to cry when they daven. It's not a joke, Rabotai. We're losing a lot of children day in, day out. As much as we think we're bringing a lot of children back, the more and more are being lost. We have to, this is why, Rabotai, it's very sad to me that we can go ahead, we can listen to lectures and we can listen on the Parsha and on the Midrash, but nobody wants to say the Emet, Rabotai. People have to start speaking up. Enough with the Shalom Bayit classes. Maybe we should start telling the people, the parents, what are the halachot of Nida, halachot of Shabbat, halachot of, what does it mean to keep your children in yeshiva? Say it, Rabotai. Don't worry, if they walk away, like I told you last time, it's better that they walk away knowing what they're doing is wrong, but not living a life of sheker, think what they're doing is always right. Rabotai, make that straight. This is very bad. It's better to know that I'm doing something wrong 100% than to 50 I'm wrong, 50 right, thinking that I'm living a good life. Rabotai, because in the end you guys are going to be very shocked to come out to the next world. You'll see what you have. Rabotai, he brings down over here in the bottom, in the Yalkut Yosef and the Ha'arot. He says, it's brought down in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, he said, and also the Zohar Kodesh brings down, Kabed et avicha ve'et emecha b'machal u'b'mishte u'b'kol. A person has obligation to honor his father and his mother with food and drink and with everything. Kol zeh b'chayav. All this is while the father is alive, meaning the parents are alive. V'ilu achrei moto. What about when the father lolein or the mother chas v'shalom after 120 they leave this world? Nidchayev b'chevodo yoter. You have a greater obligation on your parents when they're not alive than when they were alive. Rabotai, if the child goes in a bad way, for sure he's going to shame his father. Rabotai, listen to this carefully. But if a child goes in the straight path, and has good midot, Rabotai, he fixes himself. For sure he honors his father. Where does he honor his father? He honors his father in this world by the people. Your father is honorable by Hashem. What does Hashem do? Hashem has mercy on your father because the child goes in the proper derech, and he puts him in his own throne, Mr. Isaac. Can you imagine? What you could do for your father? Rabotai, this is why I told you guys last time also. Rabotai, if we can do today, right now we're speaking about, right, when a person goes, but you need to know this, what I'm about to say applies to everything. Shabbat Chatan, Shabbat Bar Mitzvah, Yishvo, 30 days, 7 days, 1 year, does not matter, Rabotai. If Chas v'Shalom, one Jew is going to come by car on Shabbat, or one Jew is going to come on his phone, Rabotai, do not do the Yishvo, do not do the Shabbat Chatan, do not do the Shabbat Kala, whatever. Do not do it on Shabbat, Rabotai. Why? Because if you're going to do it, you're saying that we're doing what Hashem wants, but at the same time we're giving my machronim today. It's hard, Rabotai. This is not the way it works. Do not do it because by Hashem, Rabotai, he's not going to be honorable. By the people, he's not going to be honorable. It is so fake what's going on in the world. We make Yishvos, 500, 600 people on Shabbat. Do you know how many of them come by car? I walk out from over here when I go over here. When there's parties, sometimes I go over here. Rabotai, I see people coming out from shul. I'm not going to say we should. I see people coming out from shul and they're getting their Bentley and their Lexus as if nothing is happening. How can the rabbis even allow, how can you even allow a shul to run like that knowing that people come on Shabbat? Tell the people, please do not do your shul here. Do not come over here. We don't need your money. Do not buy nothing from me, Rabotai. Tell the people the truth. Don't worry, you're not going to push them. Believe me, you're not going to push them away. You might push one person away, but 1,000 people you're going to bring back that are going to see the emet. But like this, you're trying to bring them back over here, but hundreds of thousands we're losing. That's what, Rabotai, you want to honor your father, your mother. You want to honor them in this world. You want to honor them in the next world. You have to go in the proper direction. That means you have to learn Torah, Masim Tovim, etc. Rabotai, he says over here, what about the other way? And this is the saddest part over here. A lot of fathers, unfortunately, think it's okay to waste time, correct? Unfortunately, Rabotai, I have to say the way it is. Rabotai, I want to tell you something. Whenever you're doing Bittul Torah, whenever you're doing sins, you are putting your children's life at risk. You like it, you don't like it, you're putting your children's life at risk. Let me read for you what he says over here. Also a father that wants to have mercy on his children. The real way, Rabotai, it's not that you buy him an iPhone, not that you give him money. That's all nice, Rabotai. Not that you buy him a car, you put him through college, you get an apartment. No, Rabotai. He says if you want to really honor your son, what do you have to do? Yasok batorah. The father has to learn Torah. The father has to be dealing in Torah, Rabotai, not just listening a lecture. Yasok literally means yasok. There's a difference, Rabotai, between people that build buildings and people that, like when we drive by and we see how buildings are being built. You have to be learning, you have to be toiling in Torah. Also in good deeds. Then everybody's going to be happy. Hashem is going to be happy and the people are going to be happy with Surah, with your children. Why? Because you have mercy on them. Here he says, and then his kids are going to be honorable. Huh? Wow, this is your father? Such a Talmud Chacham. This is your father? He comes in the morning, stays late at night. He learns, this is your father? Rabotai, automatically the children get honored. Then people want to marry them. The people want to have connection with them. People want to do business with them because they see emet. But if Chas v'Shalom, the father doesn't go in the right way, he doesn't learn Torah, he doesn't do mitzvot, Rabotai, he's trying to make the world happy, correct? He has an option to go learn Torah at 8:30, has an option to go to Yeshua, He attends the Yeshua 7 o'clock, go to 7 o'clock, 8:15, leave and go learn Torah 8:30. I don't know, what's the problem? How long can you sit 4 or 5 hours? What are you doing? I want to understand, what are you doing? You tell me you have no time, but every other day, almost every day, you have somehow time in the Yeshua 3-4 hours a day. So you're going to tell the rabbis they're teaching you Torah. What Torah? Tell me what Torah they're teaching you. I know what Torah. Parsha, Midrash, Rabotai, you can do this when you're driving the car. We have to be teaching people halachot Shabbat, halachot Nida, halachot Gezel. Things that they have to know, Rabotai, not stories. Stories are nice. I'm not against stories, Rabotai. It says clearly Osho should teach people Agadah. I'm not against it. But when you have 400 or 500 people, Rabotai, I want to tell you something. I went to Rabbi David. You guys know the rabbi, right? That we learned with Rabotai, Rabbi David. We went with him to one Yeshua. You know what he told me? When he saw the rabbis go on after Rabotai, he said, this is Leitzanut. You know what means Leitzanut? This is a joke. You have 400 or 500 people that are listening to the Rebbeim now. You give this guy a word to speak. You give that guy a word to speak. You give that guy a word to speak. You give that guy a word until the time passes and the people walk out happy. Nobody knows what's going on. But the rabbis have to get up and they have to give it over their head. You bums! How long you continue living like this? Look how many people are dying day in, day out. Why don't they say it, Rabotai? Why doesn't somebody open their mouth? So he comes up at David and says, you're going to be responsible tomorrow because you're not saying the truth. That's what he told me the other day. That's what he wants me to learn the halachot avilut. Because he says you need to know, you need to go out there. This is very sad. Our generation is being lost by the day and we don't even see it. That's what Rabotai. V'chen ba'avon avod banav meitim Rabotai. Because of the sins of father, lo len chas v'shalom Hashem yirachem. Children die, Rabotai. Kimo shenimar poked avon avot al banim. Like the sin of the father is going to go on the child. Rabotai, you don't understand when a child is sick, it's sickening, Rabotai. When a father wastes time, how much can you already drink? How much? You go to how much can you already eat? You did what you have to do. Go back, take your time and learn Torah, Rabotai. You have 7 days, you're partying. Make some time for Hashem, Rabotai. Make some time for your wife, for your family. Rabotai, there's nothing greater than learning Torah. People just don't realize. When you learn Torah, your wife is going to honor you. When you learn Torah, your children are going to honor you. You're not doing it, but that's how it's going to come out. You should know there's no greater cruelty than a father not learning Torah. Because of the father, the children have to be punished. That's what Maseh Berachot says. If they want to be saved, they have to change their ways. They have to learn Torah. Because with his sins, he causes his children to die. Rabotai, as everybody knows, Talmud Torah Kineged Kulam. When a person learns Torah, you get all the mitzvot in the Torah. Bittul Torah Kineged Kulam. When a person doesn't learn Torah, is able to learn Torah, it's against all the, as if you start with a married woman, you ate pig, you ate on Yom Kippur, you desecrated the Shabbat. Rabotai, realize, don't waste your time, Rabotai. Rabbi David, the other day, he told me, there was a Yeshua over here, Blaine Haramarik did for his brother, Rachmim. What's your brother's name, Marik John? Rachmim. Rachmim Rom Ben Azal, Lilun Shma, he shot Lilun Shma, he did Yeshua. So Rabbi David did it a certain way. He wanted a certain way. I asked, Kodorava, why like this? Why don't you make it big? Marik could have done it big. He says, because I want to teach the people in this world, over here in America, he says. Rabbi David told him, I want to teach the people. Yeshua is not a dinner night out. It's not when you go and you have a dinner, Rabotai. Yeshua is you take man. Yeshua, what means Yeshua? Yeshiva. What means Yeshiva? To sit and learn Torah. You take man and you learn Torah. It's not about the food, Rabotai. It's about the learning Torah that you come and you're doing the Yeshua. How much, put it like this, how much Torah goes into Yeshua out of 5 hours? I want to know how much. Tell me, Mr. Isaac Levy. You have 50 minutes. I'm being nice. Real Divrei Torah, Rabotai, you have 50 minutes. No, you have Rabbanim, Rabotai, that go out and they're trying to teach the people that met. You do have Rabotai, but we have to be smart about it. We're like sheep just walking. Rabotai, in the end, you won't see them, they won't see you. They don't even recognize who you are. Just try one time, don't give them a check, you'll see what I'm speaking about. Rabotai, and he says like this. There's nobody greater that has mercy on his child more than a tzaddik. Rabotai, because the merit stands for 1,000 generations for your children. That's what, Rabotai, when you have an option to do something to go in the right derech, to go in the wrong derech, to learn Torah, not to learn Torah. Rabotai, think 2 times. Is it worth it for me? Remember, you're putting your children's life at risk. Is it worth it for me right now because my wife, not my wife, Chas v'shalom, is it worth it for me right now because my wife wants to go to the movie theaters, or she wants to go to the beach, or she wants to go to the pool, or she wants to go to a casino? Is it worth it for me to listen to her? Rabbi, but Shalom Bayit, Rabotai, in the end, there's going to be real Shalom Bayit in the cemetery, Chas v'shalom. Do not do it, Rabotai. Look how many children are going today. Rabotai, when it comes to Torah mitzvot, the word Shalom Bayit does not exist. Shalom exists. Peace we want. Bayit, Rabotai, we only want when it's not against the Torah. It says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. And then in the 5th commandment it says, Mechabet et avich v'et emech, honor your father and your mother. If Hashem comes before your mother and your father, how much more so Hashem comes before your wife and anybody else, Rabotai? Get that straight through your thick head. No, but the rabbi said, Shalom Bayit, I'm going to do it. Somebody came up to me one time and he told me, I told him, Asur, Bali, not this, Asur. No mixed eating, no mixed dancing. You know what the rabbi did? He said, you're too young. You don't know what you're talking about. He allowed him to mix eat and he allowed him to mix dance. This rabbi is a Rasha Mirusha. I told the guy, I said, this is Asur. I showed him inside. He said, but he said, Shalom Bayit, if I'm not going to do it, we're not going to have no wedding. Rabotai, you don't want to have a wedding with such a girl that does not fear God. If she doesn't fear him, she ain't going to fear you. Tomorrow she'll throw you out in the streets. Rabotai, he did it. He went. In the end, after a few years, he came back to me and he told me, Rabbi John, you know something? You were so right. I don't know why I listened to my wife. I don't know why I listened to my in-laws when I went against you. I see the tzarot, the troubles that come to me, Chasam Lolain, from my children because of a 2-hour party, Rabotai. 2 hours, you can't, that's the foundation of everything. Rabotai, that's why, be very smart. When a rabbi tells you something is mutar, you tell him, I want to see it inside. Show me inside. He tells you Shalom Bayit. Tell me, which rabbi? Tell me, you're going to put your name on it? I want to see you sign that it is permissible to mix dance and because of Shalom Bayit. I want to see you. He writes it, you take this letter, you go to any rabbi, they will take him off the map completely. There's no rabbi that will ever write such a thing, Rabotai. There's no such a Shalom Bayit, Rabotai. Get it through your heads. We want to try to do what Hashem says and not what people say. Baruch Adonai Olam Amen.